Hello, it's Andrew. I'm streaming software engineering on this channel, so welcome. Today I would like to proceed with a project I'm making for a while already. It's a project which solves some of my problems. I'm automating video generation for my YouTube channel. So I have a YouTube channel which needs attention. Every morning I must make new video for some event, for example. And let's say it takes up to 3 operations to be run manually. And I don't like it. Fortunately, I have it's all in Python, but the idea which I'm already implementing on the stream, it's to make a pipeline which is able to do things I need and utilize some hardware I have. For example, it's old laptop. So let me find it. Someday I managed to show it here. Yeah. So image viewer. I think here it is. So I have quite old laptop on top. It's 10 years old, 4 cores, whatever device. So what's important? It has good battery. Of course, it requires service, but it has battery, which means it can be work on network. For example, if something sends it SSH signal, this laptop wakes, does some things, and then it goes away. I do not need to utilize device below. It's my PC I'm streaming from right now. So at this particular moment, every morning, I must turn on my PC to make those things. But what if I wouldn't need? For example, laptop above, it's quite slow, but it is able to do HTTP requests, for example. And laptop below, it's 5 years old MacBook Pro. It has some GPU, which means it can run some neural networks, small networks, but it can do things instead of a huge device below. So that's I'm trying to build. I have defined some solution as well as some drafts. So this weekend I have spent to do a few things. Let me share my Firefox. So let's assume I have a binary. It's a Golang binary which can be executed in anywhere, Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever, maybe mobile phone if it will be necessary. So let me clean it. So I have some worker on some port which discovered other workers. I have executed 3 workers on one machine and 1 worker on another machine. So in here you can see they all came from one machine which is awake right now. If I refresh this page, pretty print 1, 2, 3. So I have UI which shows you 3 machines. So I have added another page about it's about information, but what's most important, it's workers which were discovered by this particular binary, by this worker. What's important, it's all laptop 1. There is no old MacBook. But if I let me open the terminal. Here it is. If I SSH to that old laptop, there is a binary running right now. So I update the page, and here it is, old MacBook. And old MacBook has every worker, including itself. That's important because if some operations can be done within one worker, why would I need to pass results to another workers, for example? That's what I've done in this weekend. It's most of all discovery, and that's all. And maybe UI, just a bit of UI. There was a problem I defined in somewhere in the end, I think. Yes, today, August 19. What I should have done, it's implement one block, implement input config. Yes, these things I haven't done because I encountered small problem. That problem is about arrays. So by default, every block it does not work with arrays. So each block can take input only as only one entity, string, integer, maybe file, byte array, anything, but not array of data. So I have on previous stream, yes, August 17, I have defined some structure with config itself. So we have pipeline, which has slug, title, description, yes, and it has blocks such as let's go to OpenAI, fetch some text. Let's send this text to Telegram for moderation and approval. This one, it doesn't require anything. There is input entity, which is JSON, which can be parsed via XPath. So it's quite straightforward. I have one message, it's one string, it's an input to this particular block. There was a problem with arrays. So next one, it's I need to fetch it from Telegram, and yes, I need to fetch everything. Then I need to stop pipeline if this particular moderation was declined, so there is no need to proceed. But if it was approved, then we should execute some actions, such as request text-to-speech from OpenAI or whatever. I use OpenAI because it's quite easy interface. Maybe I should try switching to Windows. I remember Windows had TTS as well. So let's proceed. So input for this, it's one text, and output, it's one file. I mean, it's not array of files. The problem comes below. I need to request transcription of this audio file. Transcription on itself, it's just, let's say it's somewhere here. If I scroll to the beginning, there was an example with transcription. Here it is. Yes, so it's just simple JSON with text which was passed. But what's important, it's segments. That is array. It's array which has start, and it's a sentence. And then what was in that particular sentence. And in here, I defined it as, let's go take this file, then extract segments from transcription. That thing I don't need it because I have input config XPath. So I don't need whole block as extract property because I have input config, where it is? Oh, here. So the problem comes, we have array of strings which should pass to, let's take image, to another block. And that array must be processed in input config. So how to handle it? Last stream, it was in Saturday, I think. I said, okay, there is input which type is array. There is the way how to execute this array processing. It's possible to execute it in parallel or sequentially. And there is a property which will be posted into input itself. But let's say it's to discuss later. What's important, I need to path XPath here. So we have segments. Request text to speech. Body. Okay, we have text to speech transcription, and XPath itself, it should be segments. How to say it? Oh, by the way, let me how return array with XPath. It was / segments, I think. Yeah, so let's keep it as that. So we extract this XPath to array. Then we define that input for this particular block will be array. We say it will not be done in parallel because image generation services has limitation, at least some models, and OpenAI DALI has limitation. I think it's one image for one token. I mean API token at one particular moment. So in here we have input as array. That's correct. So the output of the thing will be array as well. And that's where thing become complicated. Because let's say I have downloaded, which means there must be output, which is array, because input is array. So I have to say output config. The reason why I'm defining input config and output config, I don't want this to be some sort of magic. Because in UI, I can move one block to somewhere. Let me find it in GitHub. Plans UI. I will show it in Firefox. So back in the day, 6 years ago, I had similar project. And if you see, why it's not scaling up? The image cannot be scaled. Nice. Open a new tab. Open image, new tab. Here it is. So if you see this, there is input and output. So in that processor worked with images, it was doing some resizes, such as first item resize image, second was watermark image, and there was input config such as where this watermark should be located and source for this watermark. So in another picture, open a new tab. Yeah, here it is. There was output, some JSON, but what's most important, there was let me, why this Firefox not moving. Here. If you can see red arrow, it was adding watermark to the location of input config from previous image. So that's why I always define the things in a quite, I would say, verbose manner. Let me move this to the left as well, and I'll hide it. So let's proceed to defining the interface. I think it's first place of array. Let's check. Yes, it's first place where I have to work with arrays. So we have array coming to request of images, and then I will have array as well, because this block itself produces something. In the best condition, without anything, it would simply produce an image for some query, some model, whatever, for some text description. But if it's array, it will be array of images as well. So I must say type equals array. That's all. Yes, I must define that this particular HTTP request says output, because the next block will have to get something for input and it will work with it. I also forgot to mention that at least OpenAI does not give you an image itself, it gives you URL of an image, which means you have to download it. And that's a place which we can make parallel download. So let's simply copy paste it. HTTP request download image from URL provided by URLs provided by. Okay, in this particular case, there is XPath for sure, but I think it's URL itself. And now it's important to define the chaining of blocks. So let's say I have block 1, which yields me results URL and other. And also, it's not just URL, it's an object itself. Oh no, I don't need that. Yes, now it's correct. So I have for example, this kind of address. So what does this block produces? I think it should have been defined somewhere in requirements. Generate images, output array of URLs in JSON. There is no example. Okay, let's do that example. So the output of this block, let's assume it will be a file. In this particular case, it's JSON, which looks like this. I will copy paste it to requirements in order not to forget. because it's good when I have reference. Otherwise, it was done for nothing. But what's important, it's that, where is it? Here. How the block will be chained. So it's output of image generation. And now input for image download. By the way, I also forgot that download an image should be done in parallel because it's quite straightforward. OpenAI allows it. Also, we'll check it in maybe a few days, maybe weeks. So I have XPath, which will extract data from this. For now, I'll leave it as is. Even I do understand it's wrong. I do understand it's not XPath itself, but we'll debug it with tests later. So I said there is an array. Yes, that's an array. Array of objects. Each object have property URL. Yes, that's correct. It's we can do it in parallel, and each of those things should not be inserted in body. It should be URL. So in this particular case, I don't need to pass URL. Also, method was get, because this property will replace some parts of block itself. Also, I don't remember that. Let me check. I think it was not necessary to make it to make some authorized requests. So let me check if get image requires that. Get image. Where is that method? Self-client. So there is no need of authorization, so I do not need these. And since it's an array, I want to have output as array as well. So there will be a bit different thing. Let me copy paste it here. There won't be URL, it will be a list of files. So there will be something like this, but not, it will be, yes, I think. So I have downloaded file to local system. I have given it some name. Yes, there will be a list of files for sure. It is also array. Okay, that's good. So we have downloaded those images. And now the next step, it was create slides from images. That's the problem I would like to address more, let's call it detailed, because it's a place where I must combine inputs of different blocks. So let's call it ID. Let me repeat, create slides from images and transcription segments. Yeah, that's correct. So this one would be absolutely separate block, which uses, I think, FFmpeg or ImageMagick. Yes, it will use ImageMagick. it is possible to name it image text. Yes, it's quite straightforward. Description text to image, and the problem itself comes from input config. What problem I have? I must combine two inputs. Combine first input. It's segment array item. Second input. It's an image which we have downloaded before. I see a few ways how to solve it. First way, it's quite straightforward. I must have a state which some enum. For example, if no, don't save this. For example, if I have this list of arrays, this output, maybe it should be stored in a file named pipeline state pipeline, then some pipeline UID. State block, and then let's call it block block ID. Yes. So it's either to have something like this, but I already don't like it. Or each block can have not just ID, but slug, I think. Yes, let's call it a slug. I would like that more, because slug. So the second option is to provide verbose and more detailed input for input config about what are we going to do. So I have to say there is a type array which can be done in parallel, obviously, because it's literally a machine with quite impressive hardware which can combine n images in parallel, add text to them. And now I have to specify what kind of blocks should be serving as an input. There are a few ways. Define array of slugs, which will say take this input from, let's call it blocks, download image, as well as segments, get segments. Or I can do better, since this is image at text, it should have input. For example, text can be hello world. It can be static image, and there will be a location in stage location. That's important. it should be a file located in shared storage, because I don't want to allow this thing to go outside. It should work only inside. I wanted to introduce a block named zip. I think it's in here. So that zip could work with two arrays and gather their data into one array. I mean, it's not two arrays, might be works with n arrays. So it might gather all output into one big JSON, for example, and then do something with it. Send it to OpenAI for analysis, for example, and maybe moderation. But it's an extra step which I consider good, because it will solve the problem with blocks in this case. So I might simply say, no, it won't solve it. Simply reuse. It will make this input less overloaded, but because of nature of zip, it is possible that I will have to work with it everywhere. And this pipeline config might become something like zip here. Work with slides, then zip those slides with some extra data. Maybe it's not just text, image, but add some timestamp or channel watermark there. That would be a problem. I don't like it. So zip should transform into something like input config. And maybe it should be an option here. Also, zip blocks. That would be better solution. But what can it give me? Download image, its output is simple array of files. Request transcription does not give me array of files. It gives me one big JSON, which I must parse. Oh, yes. Now it transforms into... Here we have another option. For example, it's already a big problem. I don't like it, but in case of download image, I don't need to do anything because it's just a URL file in shared storage, so I don't need to do anything. How do I look at it? It also can be something like that, but it will be magic. It will take some time to understand why it's a string, so I might say it X plus. That's enough. Yeah, let's keep it as is, because it will provide input into some property. It won't be a property. It comes to another interesting problem. So we have, I have zipped those files, zipped that data as, here it is. We have segment, which says hello. We have not just URL, but file itself, which has been downloaded, and let's call it file mnd media, or better s3. It's some interface. shared media bucket, pipeline, ID of that pipeline, that process execution ID. I think let's call it some UUID. Process ID. Okay, no problems. And there will be block slug. Yeah. One, let's call it image dot spec. Maybe image, because it's an array, it will be downloaded like that. I think that would be correct name. So we have this data today. Hello world here. So we have this input as data named segment and URL. The problem I see it's our add text to image block does not accept segment, etc. So I have to name it. I have to pass it as a property. So in here I could say, okay, input config, whatever inputs here, its name will be URL. But here I cannot just say, hey, there will be property named URL. I might say there will be property named details or debug, yeah. And then here I might say debug, better. So what I mean, we can assemble those properties inside of zipped thing. So we can rename it in here. So this will be property named image, and this will be property named text. And now it solves a few things. And here I can say, hello, there will be another property named debug. And input itself, that block, maybe it's quite small text, can I increase it? Yeah, I think it was small. So input will accept text here, image here, and it will get some debug which contains text and image. It is possible that everything what comes here to property itself will be an input for sure, and zip will pass its properties there as is, but let's say channel watermark. Sometimes we don't need to pass any name, so it's possible to pass it as empty, so it will be passed inside of block itself. So yes, that was correct interface. I like it already. And let's leave this. Let's add some comment. How do I add comment? Okay. Always to input. If not, pass if not emitted. Let's say if present. Better emit and emit if empty. I think it's too but okay, fine. This one should be optional. Property, it's optional alias. Yes, that would be better. And now I think I'm fine with it. We have zip, which, of course, I forgot to add slugs. Beautiful. Pipeline itself has slug, but blocks does not. It has only ID, which is some predefined things inside of binary. So I must add slug in order to provide some connection between those things. Let's call it get content of the video. Get it's misleading. Get text content for video. Yeah, that would be better. So let's proceed. Another one. Send text for moderation. Send text. Let's make it as this. Fetch moderation decision. Another stop pipeline. Yes, let's call it stop. If moderation declined. Another one, request text to speech from OpenAI. Let's call it as this. I wonder if I can transform these descriptions into slugs in order to omit them, but there will be a problem. It will be magic. I don't like magic. Request the text to script transcript. Yes, request. Text to script transcription, and here it will be request image for text to script segment. Yes, and in here it comes download image. Download image. Let's leave it as this, because I have only one image download, and now it's interesting. So get segments. It was named request transcription. Where is it? Yeah, here. Request text to script transcription. Yes, download image. It is the same. Nice. So, first big problem with inputs has been solved with arrays. It was combine text and image, create slides from. Yes, this is where it happened. Next, assemble slides to video according transcription segments timeframes. That's I wouldn't say tricky, but also interesting. So I have segments which has some timestamps. I think it can be found here. Yes. Here it is. There is segments, and each of them has start and end. It's seconds. So it started at the very beginning, and that segment with some text has been stopped in 7.5 seconds, 7.6 seconds, which means the image with subtitles at this particular video should have some duration. How would I name it? ID. There should be a block which generates that. Let me check how this Python script was doing, because I had some workarounds. Start. No, it's not here. It was somewhere. Generate videos. Create video. Where is it? That's what I was doing. So it assembles slides, and then it simply says there is a slide which has that duration. So it should be assemble. No, let's call it generate video from slides and transcription. I don't like this name, but it's pretty verbose. Did I use? Yes, slugs with generate video. Let's call it generate video. For now, it's the only thing. Slug. Description. I think that's last. No, it's not last. There will be one more, but this one will be interesting. Description, generate video from, I called it slide, but in here it's add text to image. I forgot slug, obviously. Yes, add text to image replaces with generate lights from image and the transcription. Text. Even better, it's misleading because it's not generating slides. Slides has duration. This thing does not have duration. No. So what to do with it? That's a problem, because if I would like to add durations, it's possible to include duration here. Then it will be slide itself, which means in here it will be some debug information provided, which will be enough for video generation. So the video is not just 3 images, because 3 images it's 3 frames. But each image must have duration in order to become part of video. The best case would be create a separate block which respects that duration. It won't be overload this block with something. So it will be syslug for image generation. image, add transcription text. Add transcription text to image. That is better. It won't be generate slides, but add transcription text to image. That is better, I think. But there is a problem. Number of slides should be equal to number of texts, transcription segments, because other way it will either cut or repeat. So the strategy how to zip blocks. Yes, let's make it. Let me show you what I'm trying to do here. Firefox. Python zip. Into single iterable. No, that's not. So back in the day, zip could not, I think, it could not work if you pass, let me edit it. So it could not work if you pass to arrays first and second. Because first array had 4 elements and second had 3 elements, it could yield a problem, an exception. So let me try it here. Okay, no problem. Well, okay. It seems that thing doesn't have. Okay, pim3 inst. I don't understand what's. It was just a warning back in the day. Now it's okay. So it couldn't do it. So there was an option to say hello zip. You have to work with two arrays, A, B, and then a flag which says ignore length or do not ignore it. So in my case, when there are 2 slides and 3 segments, it is possible that I do not need to yield any error, but I must make 3 slides instead of 2. So I don't know how to say it, but strategy will be named fill. Optional. It's enum with a few things such as fill, or I wouldn't say it fill or not, but fill or stop. To be honest, it should always fill. Yes, let's make it always fill. It should be literal. It's from Python. Literal equals fill. Yeah, that would be better because in my case it solves the problem. But next one, it's There is a slug. Yes, there is a slug. No, not this one. This one. Generate video from slides. Generate video from images. Segments. That's important because if I forget about it, there will be consequences. Now it has input config, which is, first of all, it's type array. Now there will be a few things. First of all, whole process, it's not done in parallel because input is just a list of whatever comes, list of 2 or 3 items, but output it's one file. So it cannot be done in parallel because also video generation on its own, it's quite heavy process, at least in my old laptops, and it takes a while. Now I need zip blocks. Yes. Here. First of all, what zip blocks do I have? It's text-to-speech transcription, but it's not just a segment. It's segments slash start and end. So I need to pass two values, start and end. And here we zip images. Now we zip a few arrays. First array, it's start, which is 0, then end. Yes. I mean, the output of this particular zip should be this. Yes. So what happens? Video generation should get input such as start, end, and image file. So let's write it here because after that I can define input config better. I mean, less complicated way. Input, which is, let's check text, image debug, and here it will be start. End. And then image. But let's call it generate video from data segment. There will be another video generation from image. Yes, that would be correct. So without this input config, I can, let's say, insert something into the beginning of video, which will work for 4 seconds. There will be an image or another option, another video. In this particular case, it's an image which should be an input. So how to make this? Type array. Yes, we have array of segments and array of images. Since I have this slug, a transcription to text to image, I can say, okay, this slug, by the way, where did it call it? Download image? Yeah, it should be dash. So in this case, I can say, where is it? Add transcription to text property image. So output of this thing should go to this property. Yes, that's correct. So I can remove it. Or maybe let's comment it. Then start and end. How to work with that? I have these transcription segments, but what's funny, there is start and end, which can be just like this. I'm not sure it's either text or number, but let's just start. Property start. And then I can copy paste it and call it end. I don't like it, but we have what we have. Maybe it can be done with a start end. It is possible, but the output of this can transform the input from start to something like duration, or even worse. I don't like the naming, but it can be array like this. I don't like it, to be honest. That's not good. So I decided to do like this. So this interface seems reasonable. I think there are a few more actions. Let me check. Generate images according to transcription. Yes. Create slides. Done. Assemble slides to video. Yes, there will be output, which is one file. Let me check if I have decided. Yes, there is output config type array. Let's also copy paste it to other arrays to mark them as they produce array. Output config array. Because in case of video, it will be different. Add image to text input, and here output, it produces array, but in this case it has an array, but it produces one file. There is no need of this copy paste. Yes, it's one file. There is no need of this. What should it done later? Add text to speech to video. Ah, beautiful. Now another block which says I need to add sound to that video, and there will be last block named result to Telegram moderation. Result to send moderation. Let me hide it. And here idea, it won't be generate video from image, it will be add sound to video, or maybe it shouldn't call be sound but audio track. Add audio to video. Yeah, that will be better. And now slug add audio to video. Description, add generated to video, because it's possible that for different languages you will have different text-to-speech, different transcriptions, because in some languages the word hello might be hola, which is definitely faster than for maybe it's 2 seconds, and that means your segments will be different, your slides will be different. That's fine. So add generated text-to-speech to video. It's quite straightforward. Then input. Input config. Let's say input because it's an interface on its own. Video, which is somewhere 3, whatever. And audio. Now let's define input config. It will be quite straightforward, I think, and I hope. Input config, which is where is it? No, come back here. So what our input config should contain? First of all, I need to provide some properties. Have I seen it before? Yes. It will be tricky. So what I have here, I say, hello, there is property named body. It will be passed here as is. But in here, have I ever met property? No. So in this, I should say property. It won't be a video. It should be. It's third option how properties work. I'm not happy about it. So I have the blocks which says, okay, this block slug, which this XPath will become like that. Property start. I can understand it. It says zip blocks, which says it's an array. Should I reuse it here since it's not an array? Should zip thread everything as an array? I'm thinking about UI because if I say the blocks here, the blocks requires array and it will be magic and misleading. So I should say where this property comes from. So video comes from XPath. Yes, let's do it. Like zip request text to speech. I think it was called like that. Download image, request image segment, request text to speech transcription. Yeah, request text to speech from OpenAI. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. So we use this block and its output. No need of XPath here as audio. Then I use another block named generate video from images and transcriptions. Quite long, but as property video. It's already, it looks like reasonable thing, but I don't like it because in some, let me scroll it somewhere here. Then I move it here. Option Z, nice. So this is what I don't like, and this is what I have. Input config. Let's start from the very beginning. In here, it's quite straightforward. We have blocks. This particular block has nothing. Nice, it has input and output. There is input, yes. Now, I said input config, property, it's a string. Okay, I can live with it. Input config, xpath, property. Maybe I should convert every property into this, because it will explain what it will actually be config input instead of magic. What xpath is, where does it come from? Right now I can say it comes from above because there is nothing. But what if it will say, hello, I don't like it? Let's do it. I think it's 10 minutes over an hour, but let's do it. Property. Let's say this property comes from this slug, get text content for video. It has xpath. Now I'm happy. Now I can say for sure. And let's call it not property, but destination property. Message. Maybe destination property. What about destination? Destination, it's about block itself, so we can later be possible prepare this data for some worker. Yes, so let's keep it destination property, or even better, it's input config, which has property, which has yes, message, which has flag. Or I should not call it block slug, I should call it origin. Where it comes from. Okay. There is something. That something has xpath. And value from xpath will be inserted into message, which is property of this input. Yes, now I'm happy. Now it's done. That format, I will update it everywhere. Let's say, I hope that minutes will be enough. So this is an example, line 300. Let's scroll it and suffer a bit. In here, I have input, which says there is some bot ID, there is moderation, but where does it come from? And input config will say it comes from do I need message? Yes, I need property. Yes, it's correct. Property named decision comes from block named send text for moderation, and its xpath I don't need to pass it. What if I move decision not to an object but mapping such as this? But in this case, there will be a problem with engineering because it's flexible, and if things like mapping is flexible, it will be soon array, object of arrays or whatever. I don't like it. Next, we have stop pipeline, which says, okay, input config. Why should we stop this pipeline? Property. Condition, which has origin, which is a fetch moderation decision. Yes. And which has XPath. It was called message. So stop pipeline should it be? No. Stop pipeline should happen when some condition triggered. So there is no need of this. That reduces number of code, and that's always good. So let's repeat it. Stop pipeline if moderation declined. So this block has name input named condition. That's correct. It's only input. Next, request text to speech from OpenAI input config. Where does it come from? Okay, that is good. XPath. Since I don't need to do request text to speech from OpenAI, since we have origin, there is no need to check previous text. We can simply get this get text from open. We can go here. Get content for video, yes. Choices message, yes. And it will be message, correct. But now it won't be message, it will be body. And here we can remove it because it is passed in input config. Beautiful. Now everything works. Now, request text to script transcription, text to speech. Input, it is correct, but I must say request test from OpenAI. In this case, there is no need of passing input config because it relies on previous pipeline result. So it is possible. Cancel. But there is a problem. Where is the file? Is it possible to... Okay, let's copy paste it, because after UI is done, there will be connection with arrows, inputs and outputs. This thing will be defined there. So I would like not to, let's say, let's think about it when it's done. So body, where it comes from? It comes from this slug request text to speech from added OpenAI, yes. Transcription. We don't need to pass any. And in here, it will be correct post request with body from file. Maybe I should also pass method post headers. Authorization, yes, and content type. Octet stream, I don't remember. Binary. I think, but to read this as a file, it is possible that I will have to pass it like type file. Yes, it will be necessary. So to upload a file, there is a problem with Octet stream and header itself. It has some sort of, I don't remember, separator. And there is some binary stuff. And that's the way how you can upload parts of the thing. So every request will have some, I don't remember, it's also called part, but let's keep it as type file because it will be obvious. In previous things, I didn't have any files. There were moderation decisions, text generation, and this is the first place, request text to speech from OpenAI. Input config body, yes, it will give us file, and maybe I should simply say here output config type file, but I don't like it because whatever this block produces, no matter of its format, it will be saved. Obviously, it will be checked, but let's keep it as is. In here, I have to upload file. Yes, let's keep it. Then I'll copy paste it. Request image for text to speech segment. Nice. So in this case, I say, okay, there is type array, which means whole block will be wrapped by some decorator or for cycle. And what's important, property, body, which has origin, request image for text to speech segment. Yes, that's so we have for cycle, but each time, oh, by the way, let's move it also in parallel in here, because it's definitely won't go here. It's about interface. It used to be like this, and each array iteration will be not parallel. It will have its segment, and since segments it's an array itself, it will be passed to the body. So the question is origin. Where does the data comes from? It comes from request text-to-speech transcription. Yes, that's correct. Since that text-to-speech transcription, it's a file, I think it's JSON. What's going on? So it's about XPath. How do I match index or iteration number with XPath itself? I don't want to include any kind of magic in here, which says, what was XPath there? / segments. I mean this one. This one will say, okay, I have an array, there will be iteration, and since array calls block 7 times in a row, at iteration number 5, I need segment number 5, but that's definitely, it's already a magic, I don't like it. Because if I forget it, there will be 7 iterations for array. In this case, it will be 7 iterations for unique element of array. Let's check what XPath thinks about XPath. Get nth element. Get an instance. Oh, here, let me copy paste it. So that's what they say in FAQ. So nth it's some sort of a child, which means I can relate /n to array item. That's magic, but it will work. I don't like it, but let's keep it. $n is number of yes, let's keep it. It will allow me to keep this interface as easy as possible without overloading it. Okay, let's keep it. So output type array. Fine. Now I have HTTP request, which is download image. Okay. Type array parallel true. And it's again the same. Property URL. Origin download image from URLs. It comes from here. Origin XPath. It will be URL /n. Yes. Okay. So array creates a list of blocks and passes data to each block. Okay. its output is config, yes. Okay, we are close to the end. Now, zip blocks. It's to be honest, it's the same property, but with an option to zip. So I have type array, which is parallel true, but I must zip blocks. How to keep it as... So I would like to do something like edit, where are you? In here. Let's say I have property name text, which should come from request text to script transcription. That's correct. There is XPath. I have another property named image. Is this slide generation? Add transcription to text. There is text and there is image. Yes, image. Which origin is download image, which is correct. Box XPath equals... Oh, there is no XPath because it's URL itself. There is a file. Now I must say if it's how to zip it. So I have array. Oh, by the way, I think it's the same as this. Yes, it is possible. No, it's not. So what is the problem in here? Today I have defined that we have to zip these blocks. Zip accepts arrays, which means this is an array and it is fine. This is also an array. This is fine. The strategy will be filled, but this is what should not be here. Because zip itself provides necessary stuff. What I would like to do, it's like pass and here download image. Maybe I should say I should keep a type array because it's not accepting arrays. It should assemble two inputs into array. Output of this function is array as well. I'm trying to define config which will solve a lot of problems, and it should be similar everywhere. So if I provide type array, that means, okay, there is an input. Then I say, okay, zip these blocks. Zip is correct, but I would like to keep it as property. Okay, it's too much already. 30 minutes overtime. Let's skip this particular moment and update a few things below. Oh wait, here it is. I should zip request transcription. It's array and it's parallel false. Generate video from images and transcriptions. Okay, zip was fine, but I created property which messed everything. How to solve this problem? If I keep it as download image, and here it's a segment I should take. In here it's also that, but this causes too much problems. What if I keep the blocks? Yes, let's keep the blocks. There will be two options, either pass it as a property and show where this property should come from, or make it zip. In here, type array, parallel true. Yes, it's the first place where I introduced the thing. That will be solution. There is array of URLs, which means if I pick one URL like this, it will be only one string value. Yes, that will be correct. Zip blocks, it will be the same. In here, it's also zip blocks, which is okay, fine too. Since it's mapping, its order doesn't matter at all, but I might have made it an object which says origin. Yeah, that would be better. So what does it say? We have origin for this block. There is XPath. There is property. Okay. Zip blocks. What kind of property will accept it? Is an alias for input. So what if it's actually the same? Property start origin. Okay, I'll think about it on next stream, maybe tomorrow before stream, in order not to waste your time. So the problem I have matched right now, it's about interface. Interface like this, web property, let me create that. Web property is quite straightforward, which says, okay, for input config, message will come from here, and particularly there is regexp or whatever, how to get it. But if I have to zip two arrays, I must say, okay, this property must come from this regexp, but I never mentioned that that particular regexp is respecting iteration index. I mean this one, array itself. So array, it's 4 on top of block itself. So array must have prepared data for block. If I define it here, it's easy to understand. So let me move it back as it used to be. So if I move it here, that means, okay, there is an array. These are rules how to prepare data for this array, for this block. If I name it property, there will be problems. Maybe I should call it array or data preparation properties. No. So let's keep it zip blocks and make there is properties. Is it? Yeah. So I'll think about it tomorrow, and then Wednesday there will be another stream. I will prepare solution. So that's all. Thank you. I hope it was useful. I will proceed preparing interfaces for 2 more streams in Wednesday and Saturday. It's important for me to define this structure in order to not to cause any future misaligning. So, for example, if my zip blocks can work with properties, does it mean something? Is there magic behind it? What does zip blocks do? What does properties do? So 2 more streams about interfaces. Let's move it to schedule. I think August 19, implement 1 block. There is no need to implement this one because it's replaced. Stop pipeline. No, it's left. Yes. So there's no need to implement anything. Today is 19th. Implement input config node define input config to input with a meeting input. Yes. XPath. Yes. Implement array option to call block for each respect parallel consequent param. Yes, but there is nothing about implementation. What's next stream will be August 21st. I'll proceed definition of pipeline config. August 21st, August 24th. I'll do the same, but right now I see it as completed like 50%, so that I should complete it at least to 70%. It's quite tough. Maybe 90%, I hope. In here it should be done, it should be completed 100%, but it is important that I'll start write documentation, because these things such as input config, let's say I'll leave comment here that below must be updated according properties. Yes. So I should be starting writing some sort of documentation about blocks and their properties. Maybe it shouldn't be just documentation, because in here I have JSON schema in one of my blocks, and it's already telling what's necessary to do. Let me open Firefox. Yeah, all my book is already away because it's offline. So I have it here, blocks. Raw data, pretty print. So I will increase. Yes. So there is a JSON schema which defines this block itself, what it does, description, name and ID, as well as properties. So this block has some quite straightforward properties such as body, description, method, query, whatever. Our pipeline config needs the same JSON schema, but it will be bigger. That JSON schema will become a part of documentation because it's like self-documentation thing. We can build documentation on top of JSON schema. And first of all, the reason why I would like to make it is to understand it more clear that thing written in VS Code right now in plan itself, that it can be moved to JSON schema without some extra efforts, such as, okay, it's not possible in JSON schema, so let's find a compromise. These moments must be handled. So that's the plan for 2 days. Documentation about blocks and the properties in JSON schema. Oh, no. About pipeline config. Or even better, pipeline config, because after that it will be quite straightforward to start writing code, because we have JSON schema, we can pass some tests over it and hello, it's done. So let's say I've spent on the stream and other side jobs like 6 hours to write this document to settle interfaces. 6, and here there will be one more 5, 6, 7, maybe 12 hours in total. So that's my plan. After defining this JSON schema, I'll start implementing blocks and to share the progress with you. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Sorry that it took so much. And like, subscribe and share this. Bye.